exploitative individual. I will plot on you. That's right. And that's why I'm going into season 11. And he's changing Pampers.
1. Wendy Williams' ex-husband, Kevin Hunter, has learned a tough lesson the hard way. Wendy got fed up with his nonsense, and she played both him and his girlfriend, Sharina Hudson, like a pro. Now, they're reportedly broke and begging for mercy. Word on the street is that Kevin and Sharina are struggling financially, and it's all because of Wendy. But before anyone calls Wendy a bitter ex, let's break it down. Kevin started dating Sharina around 2007, while he was still married to Wendy. Not only was he cheating, but he was also spending Wendy's money on his mistress. Since Kevin didn't have much of his own money, he used Wendy's wealth to buy Sharina a $765,000 house, just 9 miles away from the home he shared with Wendy. Now, karma seems to have caught up with them.
And I read about it in the blogs and the tabloids, the address of this place that he had purchased to share with this backwoods 9 miles from my house in Livingston. And they're living the high life.
2. If that ain't foul. At the time, Wendy knew about the affair, but she chose to stay with Kevin on one condition: no kids outside their marriage. I'll never understand that, but hey, to each their own. Insiders claim that Kevin never left Wendy because he and Sharina needed her money to survive. But that arrangement didn't last long because Kevin got Sharina pregnant and they had a baby girl. That was the last straw for Wendy. If there was one thing she couldn't tolerate, it was Kevin publicly humiliating her by having a child with another woman. She could turn a blind eye to the cheating, but she wasn't about to play stepmother to his loved child. So, in April 2019, she filed for divorce. The divorce proceedings only confirmed what many had suspected. Kevin was a gold digger who had been after Wendy's money from the start. He even had the audacity to request alimony and child support, despite the fact that their son was already an adult. He was clowned big time for that ridiculous request, but it was clear he was just trying to squeeze every last dollar out of Wendy. The court denied his child support request for obvious reasons, but he and Wendy did reach an agreement where she would pay him a certain amount in alimony. The exact amount remains unknown, but it had to be substantial since Kevin stopped working and was still able to support his new family and help Sharina launch multiple businesses. At first, Kevin and Sharina were living comfortably post-divorce, still enjoying Wendy's money. But when Wendy's talk show was canceled and the checks stopped rolling in, panic set in. What else could they do besides live off Wendy's money? But here's the real kicker. Wendy had already played Kevin from the start. The first time she outmaneuvered him was when she served him divorce papers. Kevin later admitted, "When the news got out, I told her I would step down from the show. But Wendy told me I needed to stay because I was having a kid. So I stayed only to get blindsided. I got fired from management, served divorce papers, and kicked off the show. All in the same day."
I don't recommend that you work with your husband because I made him my manager, and then when I decided to divorce him, he had to be fired. In other words, I made him divorced and unemployed all in one day.
3. Wendy is petty AF, and I am so here for it. In a recent interview, Kevin Hunter had the nerve to say, "As Wendy's husband of 20-plus years and the creator of The Wendy Williams Show, I was entitled to half of everything we had, just like any other divorcing couple. I went to the table in good faith, and we reached what I thought was an amicable divorce. In fact, it was one of the fastest celebrity divorces ever. I had a feeling that Wendy's Wells Fargo advisor was up to no good, but my attorneys assured me everything was fine." Well, Kevin should have trusted his instincts because Wendy played him big time, and he never saw it coming. He was probably in such a hurry to sign the agreement and start collecting money that he didn't read the fine print. The agreement clearly stated that if Wendy was no longer working, she didn't have to pay him. And as we all know, Wendy hasn't been working for over a year. She missed the entire final season of The Wendy Williams Show due to multiple health struggles, complications from Graves' disease, COVID, and mental health issues that even required psychiatric treatment. After weeks of speculation, her show was officially canceled. That meant no more TV salary and no more alimony payments for Kevin was big mad when those checks stopped coming in. He went on a rant, saying Wendy was in rehab and these people just stopped depositing my money cold turkey. Now, I'm demanding to see all the bank records from the time of the divorce until now. These people have tried to starve me out. At the end of the day, I earned that money, and I'm not letting them take it. It breaks my heart to see what's happening to her. I know she's not in a good place, and she's surrounded by people taking advantage of her condition, including this so-called guardianship.
Boy, please.
This just proves that Kevin doesn't actually care about Wendy. It's all about the money. Here's the kicker. Wendy actually kept paying him for almost a year after she stopped working. The alimony payments only stopped in February 2022, even though she hadn't been making money for months. If she wasn't compensated during her absence from the show, she legally didn't owe Kevin a dime. She was actually very generous for keeping those payments going as long as she did, but now, the Wendy ATM is officially out of order and Kevin and Sharina are panicking. Instead of getting jobs, they're crying broke. Kevin even tried to take this matter to court, but considering their divorce agreement is legally airtight, it's highly unlikely that a judge will rule in his favor. If getting played by Wendy wasn't embarrassing enough, Kevin is now out here openly admitting he's broke. He whined, "I've fallen behind on my bills. I live in a community that requires homeowners association payments, and I'm behind on those. If they're not paid, foreclosure will soon follow. My car insurance hasn't been paid, and I'm behind on credit card payments. Since the severance payments were suspended, my life has been greatly affected. I can't sustain my day-to-day living." Oh, and now he suddenly needs hip surgery, but he can't afford it because, shocker, he has no insurance. Listen, I've said this a million times already, but Kevin needs to get a job. It's wild that he hasn't worked since his divorce, especially since he loves to claim that he was the brains behind the Wendy Williams show. If he was really that much of a mastermind, why hasn't he created another hit show? Why hasn't another network